whole idea here is that we're trying to understand a little bit about your perspectives in terms of working from home. But basically just want to go through, what you found that works and what's really the benefits and kind of the drawbacks, the opposite side of that, and what you've kind of done to mitigate any of the issues that you find to be less than desirable about working from home. My name is Andrew Romano. I'm a Senior Research Director here at Zeldis. I've been in the industry for almost 13 years and with Zeldis for a little over 10 years of that time. So I'd like to start here with a little poll. We're going to try some of the functionality out here. But the idea here, I just want to get a sense of how everybody feels working from home has been, just to get a kind of a baseline for our discussion. You're going to tell me how productive you feel working from home has been using the 7-point scale compared to working in the office. Jeff, you picked a 6. That's really close to more productive at home. Why do you feel that way?
So there's more time to work. I start earlier, end about the same time, but I start way earlier. So that's just in terms of just sheer hours. And then there are just fewer interruptions. So in terms of having big chunks of time to work on things, and when I have report writing, that's when I need big chunks of time. Apart from report writing, it's pretty easy to shift and work on multiple things at the same time. But lately I've been doing a lot of report writing, and that's really been handy to have those chunks of time.
So just by show of hands, who has a dedicated workspace at home? I feel like that's something that's interesting to note. So everybody but Christina. Okay. I'm going to direct our attention again to the center here, and we're going to pull up an image deck. So a handful of different images here that I want you to just think about in kind of a little bit of an abstract way, and pick which one best characterizes your experiences working from home. But the way that you're going to actually select these is that you're going to go ahead and add your name next to next to or on top of, kind of superimpose them, the images themselves. So we'll see that kind of the layout, and then you'll be able to type right on top of that. So yeah, you're thinking about here just kind of which one of these best characterizes your experiences working from home, your kind of relationship to working from home directly contrasted with being in the office. So kind of, keeping that all in mind as you pick that. All right, so let's start with Bob down in the lower left, the kind of stopwatch. Bob, why did you choose image number 10 to represent your work at home experience?
Just because there's a little more flexibility in time, whether if you start a little earlier, working a little later, what have you, not having a commute when you're working at home. I just feel like the flexibility in time mostly, I think, is what I appreciate from working from home. And it's the biggest probably difference versus the office.
Makes sense to me. I had everyone do some homework, and thank you all for doing that. You did a wonderful job. And these are the results of that homework. As we were going through, I asked you for the top benefits of working from home, and this is kind of where everything fell out. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the drawbacks of working from home. Just feel free to throw this out. We're going to build a list together and kind of add these in and then see kind of what we think about it.
Personally, for me, it's that dedicated office space. I'm kind of all over the place with my work everywhere in my little nook of my house that I have available. So when I'm able to go into the office, I can kind of shut the door and focus harder and work more efficiently, for me at least, rather than having those distractions kind of flow about my house.
I'm going to pull these in the order that we took them down, and we're going to talk about these. We're going to vote on them, see who agrees with each of them, and then we're going to vote on, which one we think is the biggest drawback. So let me just take a second to pull them in. Okay. So let's start with the top one, blurring the lines between home and work life. Who agrees, again, kind of, let's use a show of hands, that seems to be working pretty well, that this is a drawback to working at home? Hold your hands right in front of your face so I can see them. 1, Monique, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And less collaboration. So those office pop-ins to kind of talk about work as opposed to the social connections. Who feels that that is a major drawback to working from home? Raise your hands. 1 for Christina, Bob, Colleen, so 3. Okay. Then fewer opportunities for social connections.
One thing Jeff said that I agree with, and it's a big strategy actually for me, is getting up early, starting the work a bit earlier than you need to. I battle the if I get started with my work, I have an easier time not getting wrapped up in the household work. I get some momentum going in, and it's easier. Whereas the opposite is true. If I get started on my household distractions, it's hard to break away. So get up, start early, and put limits on the amount of time, clear cut down 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever, on how long I'm going to spend on household things.
Yeah, that makes sense. How about you, Colleen? You're nodding your head. What do you think about what Rose said or some of your strategies?
It's a work in progress for me, so I'm learning as I go. I have started this week kind of just shutting the door because I do have a dedicated space, and that kind of helps me. It keeps my mind from floating away, if that makes sense. Like the physical translates to mental in a way.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I know we stayed over a little bit here, but I think we are all set. I think we got what we needed.